Hi, my name is Sebastián Cisneros, and today I'm going to talk about a negotiation case, which is called pay package negotiation. So, in the first place, we want to have context of this case. So, we have both parts, which are a worker and a boss. They are working in a entrepreneur, uh, similar to platforms like Facebook, in which it's like some marketplace in which you can offer objects and things, and you can buy it as well. So we have the first part, which is the worker. So the worker, uh, we have the this position. He is really unhappy in his job. He's not having good relationships with her boss here, the sales manager. So they he's not having a challenge in his job as well. So he really feel unhappy with this. Um, Okay, now we have the opposite part, which is the boss. Um, there's a situation in where the boss find the sales manager has uh, spent all the time in the office working in other entrepreneur in other business, a particular one he has. So obviously the boss take the decision to fire the sales manager. So he want to uh, have someone responsible in this charge immediately, as fast as he can, because this entrepreneur is um, barely starting in the market. So he can't have this charge without someone who is responsible of. uh, so let's talk about the interest in both parts. Interest in the case of worker, he wants obviously to get the job because his boss has told him that he's one of the possibilities to have this charge. So obviously he is excited. Um, he want to get the job. Other interest he has is to get a real challenge in his work. He has been working um, by orders of someone he don't like, so he want to have a real challenge. He also are looking forward to study um, other kind of things related to the business. Okay, interest for the boss. Boss want a responsible person who can take the charge of this missing employer. So he want to be careful with the amount of money he's spending on the business, because he even sell his second car to capitalize the part of this entrepreneur. So he's investing a lot of in this business. Uh, they want to. So he's investing a lot of in this business, and he want to stay careful, be careful with spend a lot of money, talking about payment and these kind of things. So let's go ahead with position of both parts as well. Position. Uh, in case of worker, he want to have a better pay that last person who was in charge, because he know the last person, the person who was fired, um, wasn't qualified to this church, and he think he could be a more appropriate professional to be the sales manager. So he want a better pay than last person. In a specific, he want $5,500. He know the last person in this church was earning $1,500, $50,000. So other position the worker has is to have their own office as well. He know the last person in the church have a particular office, and obviously he want as well this kind of benefit. Um, Lastly, he know this church is had a lot of responsibility on him, so he want to have a time to relax and disconnect to this part of the job. So he want to have 3 to 4 weeks for vacation. That is the position for the worker. And the position for the boss, which is, as I said, the boss want to be careful with this kind of spending money. So he know maybe this payment of 50,000 maybe is too much. So he is offering 40,000. As we can see, there are completely opposite interests. The worker want $55,000, and the boss only can offer 40,000. But this will not be a problem. We will see this in the resolution of the case. So he's able to accept a better commission for sales team, because worker as well mentioned they are not winning a fair commission for the work, and that is obviously affecting in his performance of work. He want to be obviously he want a responsible person in this church. He want to be strict on how this new sales manager take care about his job. Obviously he want to be results on the sales. So he proposed to have free shares of the company to the sales manager to show the compromise he have with a good performance in this church, and to show thankfulness with this new person in the church. Okay, so as a mediator, I get in a solution, which are 4 principal points, which are payment, cost, talking about worker have vacation, for example, and the boss doesn't want to spend a lot of money. So payment, cost, the office, and the agreement. So in payment, we already mentioned that worker have want more payment, and boss want to spend less in payment on this charge. So obviously worker is proposing too much. It is too much, knowing the context of boss who are spending a lot of money to increase this kind of salary. So it is not it is unfair to propose $55,000, um, mentioning that the last person on the chart was fired and wasn't doing good his job. Obviously the boss doesn't have the same confidence on in in the business. So it is not fair. And on the other hand, we have the boss position, which talk about $40,000, but it is as well it's not fair because this worker is known for his performance, for sold out every product he has. So he is actually doing a good performance in his work. He's working hard. So as a mediator, I decide the payment, the salary could be fair for both parts to keep in 15 $50,000, which is uh, the salary of the last person in the church, and which is fair for the worker who is doing excellent performance. Okay, so talking about a cost, um, boss doesn't want to spend a lot of money, and worker talk about a proposal which says he want 3 or 4 weeks of paid vacation, which obviously is a spend of money for boss, and which obviously represent a business uh, with a sales manager absent in 3 or 4 weeks. So that could be a problem. What I have decided is to have an agreement. Obviously, this kind of responsibility could be frustrating for work. So let's say I want to search for a win-win relationship. So I want to come to an agreement which is to show the effort of the worker during the 6 months in this church, and present these all kind of benefits, these all kind of gaps, these all kind of incomes for the entrepreneur, for the business. And based on that, we have the flexibility of the boss to let the work to take that 3 or 4 weeks on vacation. So that's it's the agreement I propose. Okay, so the office worker want his own office, their particular office. They are uh, really want to have this part, and the boss want to have a more interaction between his workers. So he want to sales manager be with other workers. There are, in specific, there are 12 person working in this sale department. So he want to all be united, be a worker working as one. So my resolution as mediator is to let the worker to have their own office. I mean, uh, the office is already there. There is not other benefit to have an office empty with nobody working in them. So as I said, the office is already there. There's not a difference between working in a particular office and working in um, with the other people in the team. So as a mediator, I let the worker to have their own office, and that could be the a possible resolution for this case. As I said, in some points they are completely opposite, but this is not bad at all. For example, in the salary, they are going too high or too low. So in both cases, they will be happy to have uh, to be in the middle, to have a middle response. Thank you. That was the resolution of the case.